Was there any more arm wrestling matches? There was this one pathetic attempt, actually. It wasn't arm wrestling, but it might have even been the same evening. I think it was in a different evening when we were hanging out and then Gigi left the room and Kronii was holding on to her. And Gigi was actually not able to get out. She was not able to get out, so I had to help her. Kronii's really strong. She's really strong. She was like, no, don't go. Holds on to her. She's super strong. Maybe it was even the same evening, I don't remember. I don't know. She's so strong! It's not fair! But also I do think I know that I'm weak in arm wrestling, but I'm not overall weak. Also, there's a difference between pure strength and like fighting strength, you know? I believe that I could take anyone except for... Nah, I'd fight dirty. I don't know about Kronii, but I think I could take anyone else. I have a very high opinion of my strength. You know when you're walking somewhere and then you see someone walking somewhere else and you're like, what if this person robs me right now? Could I take them? I always think yes. Don't care. I'll fight dirty. You know that one scene in The Walking Dead where Rick bites off the throat of one of the, not even the zombies, it's like a normal person, like an evil person, like a murderer or whatever. Don't remember. And then he like bites, rips his throat out and then the guy dies. I googled that and apparently that's not possible. Apparently it's possible to rip the throat and it might do a lot of damage and it might even kill someone. But in the scene, I think he like bites into an artery. And apparently arteries are really, really difficult to bite through. So you wouldn't actually be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to puncture the artery. So maybe I won't survive that way. I'm sure I would be able to somehow else. Chicken! Yeah, there were a lot of articles that 10-year-old articles that went like, how did they do this practical effect? It was chicken. Chicken this. They got sick of the chicken? Skill issue. Bad news for vampires? No, they have it's different. They have really sharp teeth, and I assume because of evolution, they probably have different types of teeth and jaw muscles, and they are way stronger in general. But for a human, as you know, I am not stronger than a human. Well, at least not in my mouth, in my teeth. I do believe that vampires are real, if you think about it, because how can there be an urban myth like that that has still permeated through the centuries and millennia? Millennia from Elden Ring? I just don't believe that it's possible that something is like in completely different cultures and, you know, geographically from different places, and then everyone just agrees with so many details, and that just means that they have to be real. Werewolves? No, that's weird. That doesn't work. I don't believe in that. Because it's just like physically, how would that work? You can't just like shapeshift, doesn't work. That's magic. Vampires is not magic. Well, it is, but it's different. It's like, I can believe it. I can't believe werewolves. I can't believe like a normal person actually being able to turn into a werewolf and then also be able to turn back. That doesn't make any sense. And they're not hairy anymore? What happens with all the hair? Does it just fall on the floor? What the fuck? Nah, I don't believe it. What happens with all the hair? Do they shed like crazy when they turn back? So then where is it? Where's all the hair? I haven't seen it. Sorry. Fur. Where is it? You're telling me that there would be like huge chunks of fur and no one would notice? Just think of the size of a werewolf. Nah, I don't believe that. And I do not believe in magic like that. I believe in genetical magic, like a vampire living off of blood. But I don't believe in like mind control. I don't think the vampire can turn into a bat and fly away. No, I think the vampire is a predator. A predator in the sense that they're like extremely attractive, which we have established throughout history. And that's how they lure in their prey. So I don't think they actually use mind controls. They're just like really hot or something and people are thirsty. Ha! Pun non intended. And then they eat the people. But I don't think they can turn vampires either. That doesn't make any sense. I think vampires can only, maybe they can make more vampire babies, but I don't think people can be turned into vampires by other vampires. I think that's cope. And I also don't think that werewolves are real because that's stupid, doesn't work that way. Maybe there are wolf people somewhere. That could be true. I can imagine a reality where there's wolf people, you know, like werewolves that don't turn back into humans. Okay, sure. Maybe somewhere in the woods. Maybe they existed. But the shape-shifting, come on. Come on. Nah. Cat girls. No. Well, I mean, Raora exists. So. Zeta too. Oh, so that's what I believe in. Also, Hololive is doesn't count because it's different. Because we like actual magic. But I'm talking about like out in the wilds, you know, like normal people, like a normal vampire. You know, like it's different. It's different realms. Yes, yeah. I'm talking about like the human people, the human population, the general population of humanity. Just because there's a handful of cat girls doesn't mean that cat girls exist. You know what I mean? I'm actually a vampire. Are you? I feel like if I was a vampire in modern age, I don't think you would notice. What? Because like I wouldn't kill. I would just because you live forever, right? So I just become a doctor, like a blood transfusionist. You know those nurses that take the blood that you donate? So I would drink all the blood, and then I would just not go outside. I would only take the night shift. I would drink all the blood, and no one would catch me. Go to the blood bank. Yeah, but you have to have access for the blood bank. Or I would get like 3 people, become friends with them, and then tell them my secret, and then ask them for blood. Can I have some of your blood? Hey, Ultimos, would you give me some of your blood? If I were a vampire, and I was in desperate need of nutrients, will you give me a little bit of blood? Please? Yes? Well, that was easy. See? I will be such a good vampire! Guys, you need a little bit better of the survival instinct. What if I suck it all and then you're dead? Hated that phrasing, but you know what I mean. What if you run out of blood and then you die? You would have to really trust me. You would have to trust me that I would be able to not take all your blood, and then you wouldn't die. But I guess you could like buy a blood transfusion bag and then just put the blood in there and then I get a straw.